Good morning, students. In today's class, we shall concentrate on an assignment and project-oriented question which will be asked as 5 marks question at the last part of your question paper. Here, as per this chapter is concerned, you can expect one project-oriented question which we are understanding for today. Let us carefully understand this question. Based on this question, there will be 5 sub-questions which you have to answer. Let us first read out the question. A consumer wants to consume 2 goods. Here, a consumer wants to consume 2 goods. The 2 goods given in this question are, one is banana, the other one is mango. The price of 2 goods are given here. The price of banana is rupees 5 and the price of mango is rupees 10. And here the consumer's income is also been given. The consumer income is rupees 40. Given the income level, the consumer always go for the purchase of goods and services. The bundles of goods that the consumer purchases mainly depends upon his income level, and that should be equal to his income. This we learnt in budget set and budget line. Depending on the concept budget set and budget line, this question is been framed where you have to answer 5 related questions. Let us first go for the first question. How much banana can she consume if she spends her entire income on that good? Here a consumer is a woman, that is why it is mentioned as she. How much? They have asked you the question. How much bananas can she consume if she spends her entire income on that good? You know very well the price of banana is being mentioned as 5 and his given income is rupees, or her given income is rupees 40. Therefore, you have to first take the income of the consumer and that should be divided by the price of a given commodity. As per this question, they have given how much banana can she consume if she spends her entire income on that good. You know very well the price of banana given here is rupees 5 and her income is rupees 40. When you divide this, it will be 8. So, she can consume 8 bananas if she spends her entire income on that good, because you know very well when the price of banana is rupees 5 and her given income is 40, at the most she can purchase or she can consume 8 bananas, which you can easily answer. Likewise, they have asked one more related question. How much mangoes can she consume if she spends her entire income on that good? Again, you should look into the price of the mango and the income is given, that is 40. Now the price of mango is 10. When you divide this, it will be 4. So you have to say that if the consumer spends her entire income on the purchase of mangoes, she can consume 4 mangoes. Because 1 mango is priced at rupees 10 means she can consume 4 mangoes. So 4 should be the answer. You can just mention the amount of commodity that she can consume when she spends her entire income on that good. When she spends her entire income on the consumption of banana, she can consume 8 bananas without consuming mangoes. She is completely spending it. Her entire income on the purchase and consumption of bananas, she can consume 8 bananas. Likewise, if she spends her entire income, that is rupees 40, on the purchase and consumption of mango, she can consume 4 mangoes. These are the 2 questions. Let us look into the third related question. Is the slope of the budget line is downward or upward? When we learned budget set and budget line, we have understood that the slope of the budget line, you have learned P1 x1 plus P2 x2 is equal to m, there we have learned that the slope of the budget line is downward. So your answer should be budget line slopes downward. Budget line slopes downward. And the fourth question is, are the bundles on the budget line equal to consumers' income or not? I made you understand when I taught you budget line, all the bundles on the budget line should be equal to the consumer's income. So you must say that all the bundles are the combinations of two goods. All the bundles on the budget line are equal to consumer's income. It must be equal to consumer's income. This should be your answer. And let us look into the last question. If you want to have more of bananas, you have to give up mangoes. Is it true? They have asked, is it true? You must say yes. If you want to have more of bananas, you have to sacrifice some amount of mangoes. So your answer should be yes. If you want to have more of bananas, you have to forego, you have to sacrifice some amount of mangoes. So it is very simple, student. Some answer requires hardly one sentence, and for some other in just number you can write, and you can, if you mention yes also, you get your marks. So this is important from 5 marks point of view. You must be very careful while understanding based on the topics that are covered in this chapter. There are certain questions which will be asked in the first part of your question paper, part A. Those are 1 marks question. The first main is choose the correct answer. Each question carries 1 marks. They will be giving 4 options for you. You have to choose the appropriate one answer so that you can get 1 marks from each question. The first question that you may expect from this chapter is utility is, they will give you the options objective, subjective, both A and B, none of the above. The answer is very simple, which you have learned when I taught you the concept utility. We understood that utility is the want satisfying capacity of the commodity. We learned the features of utility. By then we have understood that utility is a subjective phenomena. That means utility may not be the same for all the person. It differs from one person to another person. It differs from place to place as well as time. So you must answer subjective. The answer is option B. Option B, subjective. Utility is a subjective phenomena. So your answer should be option B, subjective. Let us answer for the second question. The shape of an indifference curve is normally. When we learn indifference curve, we have understood that the shape of the indifference curve is convex to the origin. The shape of the indifference curve is convex to the origin. They have given 4 options here. Convex to the origin, concave to the origin, horizontal and vertical. Your answer should be option A, convex to the origin. Indifference curve cannot be concave, or it can neither take a horizontal shape or a vertical shape. It neither intersect each other. Rather, indifference curve is always convex to the origin. So your answer is option A, convex to the origin. The third question is, the consumption bundle that are available to the consumer depend on. You know very well, the consumption bundle that are available to the consumer mainly depends on price and income. He would first look into the price as well as his income level. So the answer is option B, price and income, but they will give you many other options which includes color and shape, income and quality, none of the above, but your answer should be price and income. Now the fourth question that can be asked here is the equation of budget line. Students, you can notice that they are mainly concentrated on budget set and budget line. There will be more questions on budget set and budget line. It may be on 1 marks, 2 marks, and when it comes to 4 marks also there will be more questions that could be asked out of budget set and budget line. So you must be very careful while understanding budget set and budget line that are available in the previous classes that is uploaded in your link. So you can easily identify when I explained you budget line. The budget line equation stands what? P1 x1 plus P2 x2 is equal to M. The bundle, the first bundle or the commodity that you can see, P1 x1 plus P2 x2 is equal to M. Whatever the bundles that he chooses to buy, that must be equal to his income level. This is what we learnt in budget line. All the combinations, all the bundles on the budget line should be exactly equal to his income. That is why P1 x1 plus P2 x2 is equal to M is the answer. So you have to answer it as option C, P1 x1 plus P2 x2 is equal to M. There will be some other options which may confuse you. Don't get confused, student. They may give you the options like this. Px plus P1 x1 is equal to M. M is equal to P0 x0 plus Px, and other option that you can that can be given for you are D, that is y is equal to mx plus c. But your answer should be what? P1 x1 plus P2 x2 is equal to M, which is the equation of budget line. The next question is, the demand for these goods increases as income increases. Students, can you remember normal and inferior goods that we have understood in the previous class? Normal goods are those goods, the demand for these goods increases as income increases. I gave the example like how if consumers' income increase, he tries to bring more and more of such goods, which includes fruits, vegetable, clothes, milk, etc. So as the income increases, the demand for these goods increases. So the answer for this question is option C, normal goods. So the answer is very simple, normal goods. Read the question carefully, which may confuse you. The demand for these goods increases as income increases. So which are those goods? Those goods are called normal goods. The next question is, a vertical demand curve is. What is this, a vertical demand curve? Man thought the demand curve always slopes downward. Of course, the demand curve always slopes downwards since there is inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. When the curve, demand curve can be vertical, that is a question. See, if you have learned elasticity concept which measures the responsiveness of demand for a good for a change in the price of the good. Suppose if that elasticity is perfectly inelastic, that means if the demand does not respond to a given change in price, we call that as inelastic, no responsiveness towards change in price. The demand may not respond at all to any change in price. That is what we call it as perfectly inelastic. The elasticity by then it would be 0 when it is perfectly inelastic. By then the demand curve will take a vertical shape. The demand curve will be vertical in shape when the demand is perfectly inelastic. Therefore, you have to give the answer to this question as option B, perfectly inelastic, perfectly inelastic. Then the next question is, ordinal utility analysis expresses utility in. When we learn utility are of two types, ordinal utility and cardinal utility, we learned cardinal utility is the measurement and comparison of utility in terms of cardinal numbers like 1, 2, 3 and so on. When we can able to order or rank the utility derived from the consumption of a commodity, we call that measure as ordinal utility. So the answer is very simple. Ordinal utility analysis expresses utility in what? Is it the numbers? No. Returns? No. Awards? No. It is option C, ranks. Ordinal utility expresses utility in ranks. You can also call it as orders. It cannot be expressed in terms of numbers or returns or awards. Rather, ordinal utility always expresses utility in terms of orders or ranks. You must say the answer as ranks. Part A, second main, includes fill in the blanks. Each question carries 1 mark. The first question is, want satisfying capacity of a commodity is very easy. What is it? Utility. The want satisfying capacity of a commodity is utility. The blank is filled with this answer, utility. Next, two indifference curve never dash each other. What should be the answer here? Two indifference curve never intersect. I told you in the feature that two indifference curve can never intersect. It always is convex to the origin, and one of its feature is that two indifference curve never intersect each other. The third question is, as income increases, the demand curve for normal goods, the demand curve for normal goods shift towards. When I made you understand the shift in the demand curve, I told you that for normal goods, the demand curve always shift rightward. So the answer is, it shifts towards rightwards. Next, fourth question is, the demand for a good moves in the dash direction of its price. The blank is filled with what answer? It is opposite. You know very well, the demand for a good moves in opposite direction. If price falls, demand increases. So in what word it is? The demand is moving. It is moving in the opposite direction of its price. When the price is less, demand will be more. When the price is more, demand will be less. So the answer is opposite. And the last question is, the method of adding two individual demand curve is called. When I made you understand the market demand curve, derivation of market demand curve, we learned that the method of adding two individual demand curves is called horizontal summation. The method of adding two individual demand curve is called horizontal summation. Since we are adding the two individual demand curves horizontally, and this method of adding up of two individual demand curves is called horizontal summation. The third main of part A is match the following question. Here also each question carries 1 mark. Let us match the perfect answer for the part A with that of part B. Part A consists of few questions. You must match these questions with the appropriate answer to the right word. And how you need to match it is not like how you were matching in your primary schooling, or like you were drawing a lines as such. No, you shouldn't do that. Rather, you must match in a perfect way. For example, the first question is demand curve. You just choose the appropriate answer. The demand curve we learned, it always slopes downward. Downward sloping is the answer. You must take it like this. For the first question, the appropriate answer is B. For the first question, the appropriate answer is B. That is why you should write for 1, B is the appropriate answer. And for the second question, let us see what is the answer. Linear demand curve. You know very well, we have learned the demand equation QD is equal to A minus BP. You can also write the equation in this form. DP is equal to A minus BP, wherein here D is very important. Quantity demanded is equal to A minus BP. This is a linear demand equation or linear demand function. So you must say that the linear demand curve is, the option goes like this, A. The appropriate answer is A. And the next question that you have to answer is the third one. Unitary elasticity of demand. Unitary elasticity of demand, the appropriate answer is option E. And the next one is complementary goods. When I gave you the meaning of complementary goods and some example, I mentioned few examples like car and petrol, pen and ink, and you also can give some more examples like shoes and socks, which are the examples of complementary goods. Here they have given one such example of complementary good, that is pen and ink. So for the fourth question, the answer is option C, pen and ink. And the next one is fifth question. For the fifth question, indifference map, we learned that the family of indifference curve is indifference map. A family of indifference curve is indifference map, or a set of indifference curve or a group of indifference curve is also called as indifference map. The appropriate answer for fifth question is option D. So you must be very careful while answering, while matching this question. For the first question, demand curve, the appropriate answer is option B, downward sloping. For the second question, linear demand curve, it is this equation. dP is equal to A minus BP. Then unitary elasticity of demand is option E. ED is equal to, that is elasticity of demand is equal to 1. And then complementary goods are pen and ink. That is option C. You have to mention it like this. For the fourth one, C is the answer. And the last one, indifference map. And the appropriate answer for indifference map is option D, a family of indifference curve. Students, I believe you all have got to know how to answer these simple questions like choose the correct answer, fill in the blanks, match the following. It is also available in your study material which you have to go through, and this explanation is been given. Why? Because some sort of confusion may develop when you go for study, and that confusion will get rid when you watch this particular class. And the rest of the other question includes 1 marks question, which is very simple, and my explanation, if you watch it through the video classes what is being sent through the link, you can able to answer all those questions which comes in part A. Part B mainly consists of 2 marks question which you have to answer in 4 sentences. Part C consists mainly of 4 marks question, and part D consists of 6 marks question, and the last part E, consists of project and assignment oriented question. From this particular chapter we learn one project and assignment oriented question that could be asked with 5 sub questions which we also have understood in a clear way. Thank you.